There we go.
There we go. Welcome everybody to today's session on unpacking the engineering and programming of robotics competitions. We hope you enjoy this session. If you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to raise your hand. And we'd like to ask you to please mute your cameras to save data and bandwidth. Also to mute your microphones to keep all the background noise to a minimum. If anybody has a question and you have some mic problems, please use the chat area. And then I think that's all from my side. Over to you, Dr. Gous.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So, yes. So we decided to start these sessions because all too often we come to regional competitions and then teams are just so maybe overwhelmed that they've missed some detail. And so we're going to, this whole course, or these whole 4 sessions are really to address the learning that we have had. And that's why I was saying I was hoping we can get more newer judges, more new coaches into this group. But that said, I noticed that that many of you in the sessions have judged before, and you kind of know how First Lego League works. And so really, from your experience, I would love to have that you join the conversation. I've got just a broad introduction. Today, I'm going to introduce the Superpowered Challenge, and then we'll start unpacking it tomorrow. But you also might notice that this year it's a little bit different. So we've got 2 launch areas. Of course, nothing is just so straightforward and easy. So no, you can't just make pick up the robot here and put it down here. No, you can't do that. It's got to actually move. But I think the missions are a mixture of stuff that our new teams can definitely successfully complete, and then also that our more experienced teams can really wipe the board and attempt as many missions as possible. So I'll say on the outset, you do not need to do all the missions. You do not need to do them in any numerical order. And so hopefully by the end of the session, when we finish discussing it, you'll realize that it's really about divide and conquer, problem solving, and really getting to know what's on your mat and how you're going to challenge it. I also want to start out by saying we've got all the regional competitions happening from now till our national event on the 2nd and 3rd of December, but also that we will be playing Superpowered on the off season from January to June. So if there are any of the teams that have competed in the regionals and want to reach out and compete maybe with a brand new team from January to June, we'd love to hear from you. And we'd love to hear your celebration event, and we'd love to support you in that as well. But then to get more and more teams being able to take on the Superpower Challenge. All right. So let me go into my presentation mode. Welcome, Anzani. And so I'm going to go through the presentation. It's not very long, but also keep your notes close. Write your questions on the chat, and we'll definitely address those at the end. All right. Okay, and then I'm going to leave Anzani and Casper in the lobby, and I'm going to go into presentation mode. Yeah, it's always weird. All right, let me just have a look quickly. All right. You know, as much as it's fun, just, there we go. I would love it for it just to pop up, to share the presentation, just pop it up. So there's my presentation, and there's my thing, and all right, now you've seen the end of my presentation. All right, so I need Casper just to confirm that we can see the presentation.
Yes, I can see the screen, and it's starting to, looks like it's going. Yes, there we go.
There we go. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so really today we've done a whole series on the research that's required, and for the next 4 sessions we're really going to focus on the building and the programming and how do you analyze it. And how do you put a great robot together? So it's really the engineering and programming. By way of introduction, I'm Patricia Gous, and Cabello and Tomelo are on the road, and Anzani and Casper are here with me in the session. So this is part 1. And as usual, we've got our hotlines, we've got our recordings, we've got our MOOC queries. And so you can get all that information there, and please ask the questions. So I just want to start with a kind of an overhead introduction, just to say, So all robotics competitions do have an annual theme, okay? And each competition's then got different requirements. And so in terms of coaching and preparation, each one of the STEMI Olympiad robotics for robotics and coding has got a different requirements, but everybody has a robotics engineering part, and everybody has a programming part. So just to give you an overview, the virtual gear, that's till the end of November, that is just about a robot building and programming, okay? And then the robot World Robot Olympiad has also got, but on different levels. So you either have a regular category or the open category or the sport category. First Tech Challenge, that's kind of your really big robots, and that you can see what the theme is there as well. But you'd also need to build a robot, and you need to present it in an engineering notebook. Each team needs to have an engineering notebook. All right, so our focus today is then on first Lego League. What is the challenge? Okay, and that's from grades 4 up to grade 10. And up to 10 learners. And so that is the focus of today's session, and then for the next 3 sessions. So tomorrow, Thursday, Wednesday, and Thursday. All right. And so what is actually needed? So the theme or the season that we're in is called Superpowered. And so everything within the theme is superpowered. And so you'll see all the missions that you have to do have elements or pieces that they've built, and these are related to energy. And so the video that Casper was showing you before we started is definitely related to the missions, and how do the missions work? How is your robot going to do what it has to do? All right. So just know that the actual challenge actually has 3 parts that are judged, and then the robot game. Okay. So the project, which we've dealt with elsewhere, that is your research, and then you need to be able to present the project. That is linked to the theme, but does not have to include any robot. Okay. The technical is where your team members get a chance to explain to the judges how did they build and program their team robot. Okay, so every team has one robot. You cannot share robots between teams, because then it's not a team effort. Then you have to combine the teams. One team, one robot, and that they have programmed or built and programmed for the superpowered missions. Okay, and then we've also got the core values where the team needs to work as a team. Okay, so those are the 3 parts that are all judged in the judging rooms by a panel of experts and volunteers. Okay. The other part, kind of linked to that, but is where your robot gets a chance to perform. And when you perform, that's where the robot game comes in. And so every team gets 1 practice round, and sometimes that is just the part that you need just to calm down. And then there's 3 actual rounds, okay? And then each of those rounds is 150 seconds. Now, what we're going to try and unpack in the next 3 sessions is to say, how does your team look at the robot game, and it's all explained in the rule book. Look at those missions, and then decide which of the missions they're going to do to score as many points as possible in the 150 seconds allocated. And that of how they're going to do it, that is where your team strategy comes in. You need to have a strategy. You need to know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do in which order? And why you're going to do it. And so that is where your robot strategy is defined. Okay. And so today we're just going to do an analysis of the missions in the rule book, and we're going to answer lots of questions and understand where these missions come from. Okay. Okay. But before we start, every single member of the team must know the names of the missions. They mustn't just be able to make it up or say, no, but actually we don't program. You know, it's irrelevant whether you programmed but you also do need to be part of the programming and the building. You need to know the names of the missions, all right? You need to have either built the robot and or some of the attachments, and you need to have programmed at least part of a mission, and you need to participate in the project. Okay, so all members of the team have got contributions to make on all levels of the whole team effort. Okay, so what we're going to do today is say, okay, so how on earth do we do this? I'm going to get to the how part, the steps in the how part. Okay, and I need to tell this once, and if I've told it once, I've told it a gazillion times. You as coaches, you coach, but you do not do. All right, you can guide your team, you can recommend for your team, you can suggest to your team, but you may not do. It is very dire if we see coaches walking around with laptops. Don't touch the laptop. Do not touch the robot. Do not even program half a bit of the program. Don't. Okay? Your team needs to take responsibility and ownership for their own work. There are undercover judges around. It's not worth it. You're going to jeopardize your team's success, and your team is going to be very distraught if they've had a really good competition and you as the coach were meddling with their code, or you as the coach were actually building something for them. Don't touch it. Don't build it. Don't program it. Do not. All right. You are the coach. You are the overall coach of the whole team. All right. Please, please, please. We've had at international levels teams even disqualified because the coaches decided to program or to meddle in the students, in the team members. Okay. All right. And this is now for the coaches. Remember, we're trying to have a constructive experience. All right. So you have to know your team. You have to know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and what is a realistic goal for them. If your team comes in and says, we want to score 100 points in 150 seconds, awesome. Okay. I just want to tell you that the teams on YouTube scoring 680 points, they're experienced. So don't even think that you with a new team can reach. If you've got an experienced team, go for it. But sometimes it's not always great to watch all the YouTube videos because the team members then think they can do this, and it's not quite that easy. All right, so keep it real. Dr. Hino has got a really nice collection of videos for new or rookie teams, but I definitely think set goals and divide the load. Give each group within your team a very specific thing to do within the programming, the building, and keep it real. Don't set your teams up for disappointment. All right. Okay, so here you're not alone. So here are all the lists of the things that you have as your resources. And this year they have really gone overboard with all the stuff, and I'll give you a peep into all of it. So you as the educator or the coach, you get a team meeting guide, and there are 12 sessions that are set out, and the 12 sessions are set out not for you to just peruse through. You need to follow the 12 sessions. All right, you cannot do the first session and think, oh, you're ready for the competition. It doesn't work that way. All right, you have to work through all 12 sessions. You have to make sure that you have ticked every single box and that your learners are well prepared for a competition. Okay, please don't skip. All right, then the teams of learners, you have an engineering notebook. There are 12 sessions set out there. If your team of learners has lots to say, they might need to add pages or put extra pages in. That's awesome. All right, but your team has 12 sessions to get through. You as a coach have 12 sessions to get through. You need to do them all 12 sessions. Don't skip. Just stick to the 12 sessions. Make sure that you've done everything that is required. Okay, the other 2 documents that you can download is the game rule book. It's got every single mission set out with pictures and discussions of the rules that you can use, and you can follow those rules carefully. You'll see that all the teams that set up the YouTube videos are also following the rule book, and they know exactly what their rules are. They know what their rules are. Maybe just on that note, when your team is competing at the table, they are competing for themselves. You as the coach do not need to be there. Please do not be there. They need to move the robot. They need to do the scoring, and they need to sign the score sheet. Please, coaches, do not meddle there at the robot table. Okay, so the 12 sessions is like a long stretch, but there's 4. groups of 4 sessions. So the first 4 sessions are where you start analyzing, and you are doing some problem solving, and you are discussing, and you are pulling it all apart, and you're seeing, so where do these 12 sessions, or the initial 4 sessions, how do we get started well? And you do need to do it well. For Cargo Connect, for Cargo Connect, there was a slow introduction. It was all part of it that needs to be done. For Superpowered, you have 4 very distinct starting sessions, and each one gives you an energy path, all right, or energy journey, as they call it, all right. If you look in your team meeting guide, you've got to do the white energy journey, you've got to do the blue one, you've got to do the yellow one, you've got to do the orange one, each energy journey. So when your team comes to a competition, and somebody, and it's probably been me, if I ask them, tell me on which energy journey are you, they must be able to say they're on the red energy journey or the blue energy journey. And what is your source, and what is your storage, and what is your usage of this energy that you've got. They have to know what's going on. They can't just shrug their shoulders and say, no, we didn't do that, because then that reflects on you as the coach. All right. So the middle 4 sessions is really where you start pulling everything together. So if you've programmed all the little bits and pieces, all the missions, now we need to start pulling it together. And in the last 4 sessions, that's when we have the strategy. That's when you need to test your strategy and fine-tune it in terms of points and scoring. You've got all your little pieces kind of developed by the middle sessions, and then the last 4 sessions, you've got to really pull it together, and then you fine-tune it. Because you do need to have an optimal score for 150 seconds. Okay, so here's, there are a whole lot of videos. Okay, so there's a 230 points, which might be a little bit of a starter. And so we've got up to 410. And so it's getting there. Okay, so how do you look at this map and say, look at all these different missions? I don't know where to start. But if you start here and you do that mission, all right, then you move across and you do number 10 to move to that mission. Then from here, you do that mission and that mission. That's your strategy. Okay, that is how you're going to do it. Or you're going to start, if you want to start in this block, this base, and you move the TV, and then you go here, and you do that mission, and then you come back, and then from here, you go and do this mission, and you get to this side. That's also fine. But whatever you do, that is your strategy. All right? You need to have a well-defined strategy. Okay? And it has to be, if you can decide and discuss, what is your source? Where does your energy come from? Number 2, how are you going to store it? Okay, so where does it come from? How are you going to use it? How are you going to store it? And last but not least, how are you going to use it? And that is all set out for you in your team meeting guides. All the questions you need to ask and all the resources that you need to maybe use. All right. And then a lot of other resources, like how about the season information and what are the team resources. But there's gazillions of links. And the IET has got a good balance of resources there. All right. So let me just tell you about your robotics team. You, as the coach, have got up to 10 members. Okay. And it will save you a lot of stress if you give each member of the team at least one role to fulfill, that you have it a distinct role. Please do not say you as a whole team can't get organized. Well, they can't get organized because you're the coach. You have got to give them roles and responsibilities. Okay. And within a team, there's different types of members. So there's the builders and the programmers and the researchers and logistics and timing and scoring. You can create all the types of members that you need. But at the end of the day, you are the coach. You need to make sure that we have members for every role. Okay. And then the other one is the approaches to problem solving. So not everybody can see the problem at the same way as everybody else. Some people might take a little longer, but nonetheless, you as the coach need to make sure that your robotics team moves forward together. Okay. All right. So we've come a little bit further down in the season. We've done the release and the launch. That was in August already. And then we downloaded all the documents and we've read that. And then now we've got to start doing research because we've got to start doing the missions. And that is even more difficult. So we've got to start doing the missions. Okay. Casper did show you as a document. I'm going to ask him to maybe show you that later just to get the thinking started. So we are applying problem solving. When we've got that list of missions that we have to do, and all 16 of them, we do need to say, okay, so what is the problem? Where are we going to start? Where are we going to go to? And for me, the starting point is always the verbs. See what you have to do. Do you have to drop something? Do you have to fetch something? Do you have to tip something? Do you have to put something on top of something else? Like the water, you'll have to lift the water and you have to put it into the dam. So lift and drop, okay? And then, of course, you've got to actually apply your problem-solving technique. So you've got to be able to say, okay, so if I've got to lift it and drop it, what do I need to do? What do I need to add to my robot? What attachments do I need to add to my robot? And I appeal to you now, and I'll appeal to you again and again and again. You do need to use the documents that you've been given. You cannot just make it up as you go along. But in the same way, as you use the documents that are available, you need to document where you're coming from and where you're going to. And so that is where you write up everything you've learned. Okay, so definitely on a mission analysis, you've got to read the missions, all right? Find the name, find the scoring, find the main, find the extra, find the difficulty, find the type of mission, and then write a comment. Even if you write this on scrap paper and just make notes, but you do need to know every single mission, how to do it, what's accepted, what's not accepted, is it going to be done now, okay, so this is very important. Okay. Your time strategy is, yes, you have 12 sessions, but you don't have forever, okay? So it'll really help if on the onset, like now, you tell the team we're going to have a team's time strategy discussion, and that's part of your strategy. But to have, not just to go in and say, oh, we've got plenty of time, because that plenty of time suddenly becomes no time. Okay, so whatever you're busy with, write it down. So team group 1 is doing this mission. It's going to take how long? It's going to take how many points, and how difficult do you think it is? All right, and so each one needs to have, or each group needs to have a mission that they're going to do. All right. Yes, you're going to build the chassis, the main chassis of the robot, but for every extra mission, there are maybe attachments. All right. You need to know which attachment goes for which mission. All right. But it can be used for more than one mission, and programs can be joined for more complex, but eventually part of the team decides which missions to do and how to bring it together and put it up as a solution. Okay, right, so this is where we're going to start chatting with our team members. I was hoping we get some kids in the session, but maybe next time. All right, so we're going to build all the mission models. They're in numbered bags, and then they've got building instructions, and so you just got to sit and do it. All right. Once you've got all your mission models, or whatever number you're going to do, you've got to dual lock it onto the mission table. Yes, it's all your mission models have got to be on the table before you can start the missions. Okay, and then you kind of take a step back and say, let the team discuss what points need to be done, and learn the names of the missions and the points, and how you're going to do it and how you're not going to do it, and what works best, and go and see on the other groups what works best. All right. But for the first part, for the initial, when we do a lot of talking, we need to let the group select, build, and program a low and a high risk mission. If they get the low risk mission, well done. Then they can do the high risk mission. Okay. So that is really just to get started. Right. Now you've got your groups, and they've got all their little missions and all the things. Now you start bringing it together. Okay. So each group works with all the missions, and you pull it together, and you must still have a timing. So you start joining the missions into a strategy. So you decide group 1, we'll do group 1's mission 1, and then we'll do group 2's mission 4, and then we'll do group 1's mission 5 and 6, and so we'll move it on. That is our strategy. Okay, so if you start joining up the missions, and then you need plenty of time to score and take the time trials for every robot. The more time trials you do, the more you can challenge, the better that you know what you're doing. All right. And then with fine tuning, please get the team to document a strategy, that they know exactly what they're doing. Okay, and ensure that all team members know what the strategy is, and then you practice that strategy. All right. So and maybe at least a week before the competition. All right. So I'm encouraging. I'm going to show you examples now. I'm going to show you the mission rulebook. I'm going to show you kind of how to tackle the missions of the Superpower Challenge. And then tomorrow we will discuss any videos that you've watched specifically, amazing videos that you want to share with us. And so we'll do that tomorrow. But now I'm going to give you some practical stuff. All right. And I'm just going to get out of here. There we go. All right. Are there any questions so far that I need to answer? Anybody want to ask some questions before I continue? Okay. All right. So we're going back to sharing.
We have a hand from Angie.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Hi, Angie.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm super powered.
Oh, awesome. Me too.
Good.
Listen, this is not a question. This is just I'm admitting guilt from
okay.
Just so that I feel better about myself. But I've already set these kids up with the wrong way of starting planning their mission because we didn't do it anyway the way you said we should do it. So basically what we did is we didn't build the whole mission table. We picked a mission, built it, and then programmed it. And then we went on to the next mission. So they built, like every class, they built a mission.
Okay.
Is that really bad?
No, it's not bad. No, it's not bad.
Okay, so we didn't do it the way we should have, and I can see why we should have done it that way, but that's just the way that they got to all build because of time-wise, I suppose.
That's fine.
That's okay. No, right, good.
What? It's not wrong. It's just that you will see some of the missions get into the way of other missions. So exactly that with the blade in the Cargo Connect, everybody wanted to drop the blade, and then the stupid chicken was in the way. And so it's like, and then they say to the referees, "Well, take the chicken away." And no, we can't take the chicken away. And the chicken was never stuck either. So there's a lot of little things that we as a team have now identified, and we're trying to get it addressing all the finer details. We did experience. I must say we did learn from the mistake of not having the missions on the table because we had one of the water what's it, the water units that was in the way. When we built it, we were like, oh no, we've got to change something now. It's okay. It's okay.
We learn
at the very it's part of learning. And I'll tell you, my very first mission, very first challenge that I did, I got the two elements the wrong way around. So it happens, but good for you that you've got a way of doing it, and well done. Cool. All right. Angie
from
seems
Alpheus.
Alpheus, hi Alpheus.
Hi Doc, and hi everyone. How are you?
We are very well, thank you, Alpheus. Thank you.
I am good. Mine is not a question, it's in connection with the sales lady. He phoned me on Friday. I tried to contact you regarding this virtual workshop. So I'm making a request just to call her, maybe to make an arrangement with.
All right. Send me her number. Alpheus, send me her number now, and I'll do it first thing in the morning. All right.
Okay, no problem, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alpheus. Yes, I've been out the country for this week, but I'm glad to be home again. Yes. Thanks, Alpheus. Thank you very much. All right.
Bye.
Okay. Thanks, Alpheus, for that. All right. Anybody want to add anything as well? Anybody?
Me was more document. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. You have a hand from Alpheus again.
Alpheus, yes. No.
Oh, I was lowering my hand. I was lowering.
Okay.
It's all good, Alpheus.
Okay. Yeah. Because my only thing was that I wanted to add maybe is documentation. It also helps you in, especially with strategizing, seeing, all right, this mission gives us this many points for this much time. So that also helps the children to think how they're going to do everything.
Correct. Yes. And so just to follow on what Casper is saying, it really helps to end every single session with a scoring time, a time trial. It's like when we run for marathons, you have a time trial. And so you need to see the improvement. It doesn't, the actual numbers are good for tracking. So at the end of Monday, we did a robot round. It lasted 42 seconds and we got 40 points. Okay. And on Tuesday, we did a robot round with all our missions. We added some missions and great. So we've got 90 points and it took us 50 seconds. And so you can always plot that and see where the improvements are. Remember, it's a journey. It's really a journey, and it's about seeing, building, and progress and things like that. It's not, you're not going to be like, I have 150 seconds. It doesn't work like that. All right. And Saldana, I see your hand, but I just want to add one thing. Sometimes in that last four sessions, your team members will say, this is a really cool mission, but it's costing us time. It's taking us like 60 seconds to get there, and it's only 10 points. So maybe we can do something else for 20 points in less time. And that's where the strategy comes in, where your students or your team members kind of decide, maybe this is not such a good idea. It's always cool to have also one mission that is like really a cliffhanger, and maybe we can try it if there's time, and it's about risk, and we'll deal with that maybe tomorrow. All right. But let me take Saldana's question, then I'll tell you what I also want to say. Saldana, hi. Saldana.
Hi there.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, hi. I hope you can hear me clearly. I'm kind of driving, but I wanted to ask, with the dinosaur toy, so you manually putting the battery into the robot, into the thing. However, if you take one of these tokens from the other end of your second launch area, the one that's furthest away from the dinosaur, can you pass it on to a teammate in the other end, and then they can just plug it in for you?
No, I don't think so.
So the goal, I can maybe add as enter on this one. The robot toy, you can just move it from the one base to another base, and then when you've done that, then you can add the that unit into it when it's in that base.
Right, but Casper,
yes.
When you say move it from one end to the other end, you are moving it with your robot. You're not manually moving it with your hand from one team member to the other team member.
Yes, you're moving it with a robot.
Okay, and you are only allowed to put the token in at the other end, or?
You can put it in the beginning. It depends on where that token needs to start.
Okay, and I'm sorry for this ill-prepared question, but let's just say you on the one end, you didn't move the robot toy, you didn't move the dinosaur toy across, but you want to put the token in the one side. You still get the token point, but you don't get the moving of the dinosaur toy.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Okay.
That's all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, interesting questions coming out here. Yeah, so we're hectic busy. So yes, so just also on that, I think the Riley Rover, if your team has competed on the Cargo Connect Challenge, I think you do need to start upping the building skills of your team. And so you do need to find, maybe your team is not ready to build a complete chassis on their own, but maybe move it up to a core robot or a Steve bot, or for the Spike is maybe a building based level 2 or advanced, but to move it up a level so that your attachments can be more, and I don't want to say complicated, but you have to move to a next level. You want to push your learners to think a little further and to kind of explore. It's no use them just staying in their little comfort zone, having a little Riley Rover and scoring 45 points, and that's easily done. We need to keep pushing our learners to explore different attachments and different chassis, and then obviously different ways of programming, especially with sensors. I would say if this is your second robotics competition, if you've done maybe the first competition, you can get away with not using sensors, but for the second going up, you do need to start using sensors, attaching them, but don't just attach them. You've got to actually attach them and use them. Okay, so I'll also unpack that tomorrow, where you use sensors to make sure that you know exactly where your robot is and that you align it. One of the most important things is having a robot that's not just haphazard. All right, I wonder if maybe I should just quickly explain. If you have, say, and I'm on the EB3, you have a whole lot of programs. You can't keep looking for the programs each time on the control panel. You'll need to put them onto the button, so you can press buttons, the buttons 1, 2, a top, bottom. So you actually put them onto buttons and you activate them by the buttons. So your team doesn't scroll through that user interface. That also said, make sure that you've cleaned the memory and you only have the programs that you're going to use on the brain. If you have a spike and your programs are numbered 1, 2, 3, it's quite easy to move from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. But if teams are standing at a competition and there are 5 other teams at the tables and everything is loud, it gets quite traumatic. But then have one member of the team to say, have a little sheet next to them and say, program number 1, moving forward, fetching the power. Program number 2, moving forward, doing the television. Have a little piece of paper and have one team member, especially with a loud voice, that they just keep the team calm. I think it's always sad when the team has put in so much effort into building and programming and then keep pressing the same button and expecting a different result. So I'm really urging you as coaches, kind of in this initial discussion, to say have a good risk, low risk program that like almost no fail, very low risk, certain very limited risk of failure. Go out, push the TV, come back. Okay. That said, also, your learners cannot remember different starting positions. So I'm kind of asking you, if you think there's any chance that they will get confused, have them start against the south wall, which is it's always against the mat is always against the south wall. The south wall is where they start. All right, push it again. So your robot either faces this way or your robot faces that way. Okay, to go out that way. But have like 2 starting positions depending on what direction you're going. Especially for newer teams, we want to keep, because your starting is like the most important. Especially if you've got limited sensors, if you start, you've only got 2 places to start. But if you know that your start is guaranteed and your program is guaranteed, then the chances of non-success is very limited. And that's what we want. Last thing on that topic is, please make sure that your robot is well charged and your laptop is well charged and that all the programs are on the hub. Okay, your teams cannot come to a competition with a robot laptop on their arms. That is not on. All right, it mustn't be connected, mustn't be remote, mustn't be Bluetooth. You must have all your programs on the hub, preferably before the competition. Also, when you're testing your programs, run your programs for about half an hour and then stop, and then charge your robot, charge your laptop, and then you test again. If you're going to keep testing for 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 hours, your power of your robot goes down, and then your program starts doing weird things. And then the teams, what they do is then they start changing things on the program, and actually all they need to do is recharge the robot. Okay. Sure, I've done a lot of talking now in this last bit. Are there any other questions? Anybody want to raise their hand, kind of understanding?
I maybe have 2 things that I want to add, Doctor.
Yes, go for it.
Okay, I'll do it now, but I see Eric has his hand up.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to find out, are there research projects, are they judged on the same day? Does everything happen on the same day?
Yes. So, Eric, have you got the team meeting guide?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll see there's a time scale. It's one single judging venue, okay? And the team comes in, and then they have 5 minutes to do their presentation, which means it must be well practiced. And then 5 minutes for questions. Then they have, and it's not, actually it must be very focused on their project. I've done a number of sessions on project as well, and I'm happy to share those with you, Eric. But then after that, you have technical, and their team needs to be able to explain how did they build their robot and how did they program their robot, and not by one child only. It needs to be a team effort. And then I think there's about 3 minutes where the core values judge will just ask them a random question. So what is your favorite part of being in this team? How do you see your team going forward? If you could add members, how many members do you want to add to the team? So really where there's a team effort. If it comes to nationals, the teams for the core value need to be able to solve a problem, like with the spaghetti and the marshmallows and things. But you will see also I'm going to show you now in the guide, in the multimedia guide, there are a whole lot of really cool games that you can play with your teams to build up their team experience. But that's all in, I think the whole session lasts for 30 minutes. So 20 minutes with the team, and then the judges have 10 minutes deliberation. And it's very, you have to practice with your teams that they need to be able to share their research in 5 minutes. They need to be practiced. They can't just walk in and I kind of tell a story. It's got to be very focused. And for that, you can use the rubrics. There are rubrics as well there in the team meeting guide. Oh, there we go. And that's the judging session. That's not judging. That is the scoring sheet. But it's see, Custer's busy showing that. It is in there in the document. Yeah.
And just on that, sorry, this is just for my background and understanding how this all works. Are there coaches that they've got to do both the kind of the research project and the robotics side of it?
The teams need to do it.
Yeah. But that coach, basically, you got to put a team together that does both those things.
And be a team, and be a nice team. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's disheartening when you get to a competition and one child steps forward and says, "Hi, I'm the core values. I'm the team." No, you're not the team. And did you have anything to do with the project? No, not at all. Did you have anything to do with the robot? No, not at all. The team has to work together in discussions, in deliberations, in deciding. So for a team to be cohesive, and that's where I divided them up into groups. So say there were 9 members in a team, so we had 3 groups of 3. Then each one chose one mission. All right. So there was one chassis, one robot design, and then Group A did the one mission to do that, and Group B did that mission, and groups they need to build it, they need to program it, build the attachment, and program it and run it on the day of the competition. And that's where you also practice your synchronization, for lack of a better word. So Group A sets their robot out and comes back, takes off the attachment. Group B puts on the attachment, sets it out, scores the points, comes back, then it goes back, and then Group C. And so that is all part of teamwork. Yeah. So it never is on one child that you stuffed up and you didn't program and you didn't build properly. It's the same as having a team turn to one child and say, your research sucks and you didn't know what you were doing, and that's why we didn't get points. Teams need to take ownership of it, and coaches must not. Please do not do the research. Sit down, do some brainstorming, get your teams to identify which of the 4 energy journeys they want to consider. For each energy journey, it's discussed. In session 1 is the white, session 2 is the blue, session 3 I think is yellow, and session 4 is the orange. And then by the time you've gone through all 4 energy journeys, then the team will kind of deliberate and say, you know what, I think our community problem is the blue energy, so we can do something with water energy and hydraulic. And so they really need to discuss it. The last thing you want your teams to come, and when the judges ask, so whose idea is this? And the team say, it's the coach's. He told us to do it. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, thanks. Sorry, Eric, I gave you such a rounder answer. Yeah, but it really is to encourage learners to kind of be part, and you as the coach need to guide them in their thinking, that they don't go whoo off the rails, but that they all understand what the research is about. And this is where it comes to keep it real. And they've got to, so if they're doing a thing on hydroelectricity, okay, so show me, how did you capture the electricity? How are you going to store it? And if they can build a little prototype and kind of show the judges how it works, that they have a deep understanding. Please don't let them just Google a page and recite it like a no, with no depth of understanding. That is not what this theme is about. It'd be really cool if they can like gather energy from the sun, store it in a battery, and then serve the judges a cooked pizza or something. That's about showing me how you're going to do this. Yeah. Especially, well, if they for regionals, it'll be great if they have a little model, a scale model of what they're going to do. But for nationals, the teams will definitely need to up that as well and show us for real how they're going to do it. It's not just a recitation of some Wikipedia information. Then really needs to be input, and it needs to be the learner's input. They need to fully understand, and don't come with, oh, we'll put a panel up here and the energy will whoosh go into battery. Okay, show me how it does. Do you understand the process? I think one of the best exercises you can do with your team is say, tell me how much energy your home needs every day. How much energy does your home need to run a fridge? How much energy does your home need to run TV? Show me whether you can store the energy you need to watch TV. Show me whether you can store the energy you need to charge your cell phone. Okay, if every learner has a solar panel, and then you park all your cell phones in the sunlight to catch the energy whilst they're studying. Yeah, it's just kind of that kind of thing. All right. All right. Any more questions? Sorry, Casper, I rudely interrupted you. Now you want to share.
Yeah, all I want to maybe say to the teams would be you get this one, it's the wire grid frame of this version here. So what will be nice actually is if the team members go and they mark where they are, where their starting points for certain missions are. So they say, all right, the front wheel must be on this block here, and the back wheel must be here. And that will help them to see, okay, that's how the robot must be. And it also shows, if you show it to the judges, they'll also see, all right, they've planned and they know what they're gonna, how they need to do the following missions. And also, if somebody is not there, that usually does it, there is a trial for other people to see, for other team members also to see how to do that mission.
Yeah, here we go. And you can make lots of copies of that and let every group maybe draw with their colors, and then you can see where your robot is traveling on your game.
Yes.
Yes.
Especially with this document here.
There we go. There we go.
Asking about. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll quickly just run through it. I see I only have 2 minutes, so I'll do it a quick one.
I see that.
So yeah, it's just this document is just where the teams go. The team members have to do this part, not the coaches.
Yeah.
So what they do is they put in the name of the mission for themselves to remember what is the mission and to understand what that mission is. The points that they get for completing it, and sometimes some missions have extra missions that they have to complete. Thus, we have the extra column. Then we have the type of mission. So this will be either, is it a push mission? Is it a grab mission? Is it a drop mission? And all those types, like Dr. Gous said, the verbs. Then the difficulty. How difficult will it be for us to complete this mission? Will it be an easy mission, a medium mission, or not? And any comments that they think they want to remember this mission. So they will say maybe mission 1, easy 30 points. Mission 7, not so easy points. It's a little bit work, but good points, and so on. So they can add anything onto this on these comments. And what's nice actually is if they break into team, this is usually done in the beginning of this the season. But what I always think is a good idea is if each team member goes and fills it out themselves. Now they don't have to do it into this specific format, but the main thing is each team member will identify a problem and a solution for certain missions. And then when they come together as a team, they say, all right, we all saw this mission as a problem, but this person here found the solution for that problem. And so they come together and they have good teamwork to solve the missions. And even in the, yeah. And then the next part is now more into the middle of the season when they have already built all the missions and they want to say how long it will take them. So they say the name again for them to remember what the name is. How much points do they get with this mission? Is it still what mission type is it? How difficult is it? What's the minimum time that they need to do it? And what's the maximum time they need to do it? And then any comment on how they improve the code or to make it faster or slower in any case.
Casper, can you share this document on the group, and then we leave it as homework for everybody to come back tomorrow?
I can't add it on this group, but I'll find a way. I'll put it onto the grant holder as group and on the coaches and everyone. Awesome. But also just the last part of it, the strategy part of it, to say which missions can be combined. So in easy missions that are next to each other, how can I combine these missions and so on? And these are the small things that we all can do, or the teams can do, because if not mistaken, some of the experienced teams do this, and then they have good strategy and good plan for doing as many missions as possible. Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Casper, for that one. We have now officially run out of time. So we are going to end the session. You've got 1 minute to get fresh coffee. And I see Tanya's in the session. So Tanya, we're going to go to the next session. Everybody's going to run and get coffee and then run back. And we've got no load sheddings. Well, I don't think we've got load shedding. Okay, I have got currently no load shedding. So we're going to see each other in the 4 o'clock session, which starts in about a minute and a half. Thank you, Casper, for the help. Thank you, everybody, for your great comments. We've got a lot to discuss, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. See whether you can kind of get through the missions and kind of get an idea of what the missions are all about. And then we will see each other in the next session, and we'll start that in like 30 seconds from now. All right. Thank you, everybody. Casper, are you stopping this recording? Casper is gone already.